dos, tres, cuatro.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, that he make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bang bang, chant down Babylon kingdom, that he make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, that he make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bang bang, chant down Babylon kingdom, that he make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? It's Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Event. This is episode 143, calling this bad boy Silent Hill. We are calling this bad boy Silent Hill. And before we get into what we're babbling about, how's your week been? How has your week been? I hope your week has been fantastic. Hope your week has been phenomenal even. And I hope this next week is even better. It's the Babylon 5 Podcast. I'm your boy Jermaine Event. As I said, this is episode 143, Silent Hill, which, as we're talking about today, we're going to talk about King Kendrick. Kendrick Lamar just dropped a new double disc album. It's funny, little side babble here. You know, as a artist, if you will, as a nigga that makes music, I was thinking about doing like a double disc type thing, but I was like, I wouldn't want like fucking 18 tracks on both fucking disc. I was thinking that they'd be shorter, and that's what your boy Kendrick Lamar did here. I think it's like 9 tracks apiece for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I'm going to talk about that album. Going to talk about Atlanta, Season 3, Episode 9. Rich Wigga, Poor Wigga. Still Wigga. Still Wigga. That's what we're going to talk about. Episode 9, Season 3 of Atlanta. UFC Vegas 54, headlined by Jan Blachowicz versus Alexander Rakic. We're going to talk about that fight and a couple other fights there. It was a pretty good card, actually. Pretty interesting card. I thought it looked great before it even happened. I was looking at that card like, yo, there's a lot of good fights on here. There's a lot of good fights next week at UFC Vegas 55. We're going to talk about that. There's some bangers on UFC Vegas 55, which is headlined by Holly Holm versus Ketlin Vieja. I don't really care for that fight. The fight that I'm excited for that we're going to really talk about is Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Michelle Pajea. That's the fight. That's the money fight right there. That fight's going to tell you a lot of things, and we're going to babble about that fight. And if you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You guys can follow or you can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You guys can hit that like button anywhere that you're listening to this podcast. You know, that'd be pretty cool. If you guys would like to follow this podcast on Twitch, it's at twitch.tv/Babylon5. If you guys want to cop some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my Niji, be my patron. Be my patron. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod. And, and one of these days we'll get some I Digresses in there. As I said, like every week, I'm not even lying to y'all. I'm like dead serious. Every week, like either I have a script written for I Digress or I got all the topics, like I'm plotting on them. And then, like, I don't know, time just gets away from me. And then it's like, well, shit, I should have did it already. You know what I'm saying? I'm a morning person. Once we hit a certain time, it's like, fuck. I'm kind of locked in for, like, the morning is when I'm up and at 'em. If you want to see your boy in his free time, that's like 7 o'clock in the morning. I've been up for 2 hours by that point. Come talk to your boy. I've been up for 2 hours by that point. come and talk to your boy. I'm a morning person. Early fucking morning. Whatever it takes. I know I can make it through. I don't know why. I don't know how that popped in my head. Kendrick Lamar, ladies and gentlemen. Kendrick Lamar just dropped the album. You know what's crazy? I saw this video on YouTube. I'm like, damn, I was oblivious to all this if this is what was actually going on in front of my face. Because, like, I saw a video that was talking about Kendrick Lamar and Drake beefing for years, nigga. I was like, what? I was listening to those songs. I know those words. Is that what he was talking about? Not necessarily the Drake songs. I didn't know all the Drake songs because I'm just not as much of a Drake fan. I used to be. You know, whatever it takes. I know I can make it through. That's a direct Degrassi reference. That's not random in that instance. But I had to wrap that all in. I had to just mention that. But I didn't know them niggas was beefing. And there's one song on this album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, called Father Time, where he talks about how most men just fucking, or just like a lot of men have men issues. I mean, have father issues. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, the stigma is that it's, like, women that have daddy issues. But it's like all these men, like, they do this bullshit because we all have daddy issues. It's a pretty dope song. It talks about his daddy issues, which is, like, this is the first part of the album, like, okay, y'all biting me. Then the song Auntie Diaries came on. I was like, yo, chill out, bruh. Chill out, bruh. I've been rapping about about kicking it at Auntie's crib for the past, like, 5-6 years now. When I saw that Auntie Diary, I was like, this nigga bet not. You bet not. Bet not. He kind of did, but he had a different story to he had a different story to tell, but I'm going to say, so through the first listen, I only gave the album, like, one straight through listen. Like, I went to the gym the other day, and then I saw, like, a tweet that it was out. I was like, oh, shit, I didn't know. I had, like, just wasn't even really paying attention. I don't be listening to music like that, I guess. I listen to niggas that I listen to. I listen to Kendrick, so if Kendrick ain't dropped in 4 years, then, like, I don't know. I haven't really listened to any new music since Kanye's album. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of shit that it is. Like, that's just how it is. I didn't check out the Pusha T album. Push It Up just don't move me. It don't move me like that. I don't know. It just is what it is. But this dropped, so I was like, fuck. Let me put this on. I was like, I know it's a double disc, so I'm probably not going to finish this album in the time that I'm here, but I did. I finished the whole album in the time that I was still at the gym. And, yeah, so it was like 9 songs each. 9 songs each. I think each side or some shit. Like, I could pull the fucking list up right now. I ain't gotta have these fucking contemplative-ass babbles. Well, niggas, it's like, why didn't you just pull up the fucking list, nigga? And I'm like, oh, shit, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah, it is 99, my nigga. Yo, he be doing some shit with numerology. I was peeping his shit. He's real nice with the numerology game. There's definitely some significance here. There's definitely some significance. That's the conspiracy theorist in me. Let's never mind that. I was having a conversation with a coworker today, and it was pulling me right back in that conspiracy theorist bag. And I'm like, yo, I left that life alone. I left that life alone a long time ago, sir. I'm not that guy I used to be. But I'm still a nigga that loves some Kendrick Lamar. And so through the first listen, I'm only giving it one, like, straight through listen. I like to give the album straight through listens, especially, like, damn. I like to give that a listen in reverse. I made a list to play the album backwards, you know. It's pretty fire. Kendrick's just dope. He's dope in that way. You get a different experience from playing the tracks in reverse on Damn. That's how it is with Tetsuo and Youth with Lupe Fiasco as well. That's probably one of my favorite albums of all time. But you're supposed to play that backwards, like, because his thing is, it's Tetsuo and Youth, and it's supposed to be like a Japanese manga. So it's from right to left instead of left to right. Anywho, this album is pretty good. So first listen, first track, United in Grief. I Grieve Different. That's a pretty dope song there. You know what I'm saying? Just the songs that stood out to me right away. United in Grief. N95 was pretty dope. I think that's the second track. Those are the first two songs on the album. Worldwide Steppers. All right? Worldwide Steppers. Right away when that song came on, I was like, ooh, we got something here. Well, actually, I don't know about right away. I'm going to play it for like 10 seconds.
Okay, Lamars.
Yeah, see, he's got the Kodak Black shit there, so I can pause it. I know how the laws work. If I pause it, and I'm playing this because, you know, I respect Kendrick as an artist, and I want to show appreciation to Kendrick.
At heart, totally. And this is the big step.
I didn't understand why he had Kodak Black on there at all. I don't understand. I didn't understand why he had Kodak Black. I'm just not. I honestly think Kodak Black is one of the worst rappers I've ever heard. My boy Ryan, I think he was telling me the other day, like just a while ago, when one of the last times I saw him, he was telling me about how Kodak Black. He's like, man, like he thought he was like just like super ignorant, you know what I'm saying? But he's like, once you listen to the music, you'll see that like there's a deeper story in there. And I'm like, he's probably one of the worst rappers I've ever heard. And it's not like, like, you know how niggas get with Kanye and then they start flowing a little bit different, or he lace it up a little certain way, throw some ad-libs, some reverb on that shit. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, homie can do something. That's what happens when niggas get with Kanye sometimes. Or just, you know, certain collabs work. It didn't happen here. I was like, this nigga's trash. I'm just not a Kodak Black fan at all. But when this beat came on, my nigga, I was like,
I'm a killer,
Anywho, I can't play that shit too much, or they'll fucking cancel me. They'll cancel me. But it's a fire album, you know. It's a fire album. So that when that came on, I was like, damn, he's got me. Like the first two songs, as I said, United in Grief, N95, and then Worldwide Steppers comes on, and I'm just like, damn, he's got something here. As soon as that beat drops, I know it. Thankfully, there's like no verses from Kodak Black on that on that great song, but unfortunately, on probably my favorite song on the album, Silent Hill, which is why this episode is called Silent Hill, he's got a verse from Kodak Black, and it's fucking terrible. He's probably the worst rapper I've ever heard. He's fucking terrible. How is he famous? What is he famous for? Other than being fucking terrible. It was like when them whack rappers, fucking the mumble rappers were all coming up. He came through that fucking shit. I feel like he came up around that time. So I was just like, I had never really heard a verse from him. And shit. You know how, like, by this point, you'd be like, oh, shit, nigga, I don't know what he sounded like before, but he must have got better. That's how I felt about Mac Miller when I heard him on, watching movies with the sound off. That shit. That's why I was like, damn, dude, Mac Miller is dope. I didn't think he was just that dope. I felt like I heard some shit in passing, and I just like was like, damn, Mac Miller done stepped it up. I don't feel that way about Kodak Black. I think he's one of the worst rappers I've ever fucking heard. I think he's fucking terrible.
Push these niggas off me like push.
Right there. Right there. I was like, oh shit, he got something else. I'm like, that's the anthem. Cause you know, on the other album, on Damn, when he said, if I gotta slap a pussy ass nigga, I'ma make it look sexy. That right there was the anthem. You know what I'm saying? Automatic anthem. Automatic anthem. And when he said, push them niggas off me like, huh. Push these. I'm like trying to play it, and I couldn't. I kept missing the play button. I was like, it's not smooth at all anymore. That's what it is right there. All right? That's my favorite song on the album right there. That's been on repeat. Well, it's not on repeat anymore because I can't. Like, Kodak Black is one of the worst rappers I've ever heard. And it was like, oh, this is an example. I think on the last J. Cole album, 21 Savage or somebody was floating on that shit. I was just thinking about that like, and the fucking dude who does, like, those videos, that group that does those videos where, like, how LeBron reacted when he heard this person got traded to that team, yada, yada, yada. Like, they do all that videos, like, and he did a video about this album. He's the one that was like, Jermaine, Cole, that guy. You know what I'm talking. You know I love that video. But that guy. Yeah, he did a video. And he was like, I didn't even know 21 could float like that. I'm like, yeah, I didn't know that nigga could float like that either. I didn't get that vibe from Kodak. I was like, damn, we didn't need that verse at all. I honestly feel like, man, they trying to force feed niggas Baby Keem. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, fuck, if I want to check out Baby Keem, I'll check out Baby Keem, nigga. Put a Isaiah Rashad verse on that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Give Rashad some shine. But fuck. Y'all trying to force feed niggas Baby Keem. Pause. But y'all trying to making niggas listen to Baby Keem. What is it? Ain't it that fucking, there's a skit on here, an interlude that's Baby Keem, and they don't even fucking credit him. And then Baby Keem is all over this album, all right? They're forcing Baby Keem on us. We're all gonna be Baby Keem fans at the end of this, and we have no choice. They're forcing us to be Baby Keem. And they cousins, you know, that's cool and all. It's crazy when family looks out like that. That's wild. But I was super into this album. Auntie Diaries, all right? He talks about how in the first verse, he's like, his auntie is a man now. And just talking about growing up and how they would just use, like, dropping all these F-bombs, you know what I'm saying? Because they didn't know any better. And, like, just how they rationalized it, like, when they were younger. Like, just not knowing any better is basically what it came down to in this song. And then the second verse is about his cousin. His cousin is Demetrius is now Marianne, is what he says. Like, in the first verse, he's like, my auntie is now a man. In the second verse, Demetrius is Marianne now. That's what he says in Auntie Diaries. And he breaks down how he and his cousin were close when they were younger, but as they got older and, you know, they would be at school and people are dropping all these F-bombs, just not knowing any better, and they just like grew apart, over the years, like because of it, because of all this shit. And he just talks about all the regrets of all this shit, but how he loves his family, It's a pretty deep album. It's a pretty dope album. I fucks with this album a lot. He talks about Baby Keem's mom. I mean, it's his auntie, all right? He talks about his auntie. I don't think his auntie I don't think Baby Keem's mom is the one that's the man now. I think there are two different aunties. But he does directly mention Baby Keem's mom being an addict and then watching her son make $1 million. Then he talks about watching Baby Keem buy 4 cars in a week or in 2 weeks or something. Yeah, buy like 4 cars in 2 weeks. And because they're just going to keep like Baby Keem, Baby Keem, Baby Keem. Say it this many times fast and that nigga will appear. All right? That's what they're doing with Baby Keem. It's a good album. It's a really good album. As you should expect from Kendrick Lamar, people are saying album of the year. When did Donda come out? Was that last year? I think that was last year. If it came out 2022, then it was last year. Okay, it could potentially be album of the year. Potentially. It's a lot of year left. And I ain't even dropping this year, my nigga. And I don't even know what does album of the year really mean? You know what I'm saying? If Tech 9 is my favorite rapper and y'all don't even put Tech 9 on the list, then do I agree that whatever album y'all say is fucking album of the year is album of the year? It's all perspective. I don't even understand why we have to have like favorites or, this is my list of blah, blah, blah. This is my top 5, nigga. Your top 5 means nothing and it's fleeting. All right? Everybody in that fucking list is fleeting. All right? All right. It's a good album. Y'all should definitely take the time to check out Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I'm happy King Kendrick is back. All right? King Kendrick is back. Moving on. Babbled enough about Kendrick Lamar. Y'all should check out the album. Let me know how you feel about it. Hit your boy up and let me know how you feel about it. Atlanta, Season 3, Episode 9. Rich Wigga, Poor Wigga. All right, so this episode's pretty ill. As you guys should know, I'm talking about this show every week, and y'all should be like, damn, that sounds mind-blowing, my nigga. And it's pretty dope. So there's this interracial kid, mixed-race kid. I don't think they show his mom. His mom is not in the picture, but I would imagine she's white. He lives with his father, who's black, an African-American, a Negro, if you will, a person of color. My nigga, a person of color. Yeah. Y'all be saying some shit. So it's a nigga, his dad is a nigga, and his dad is, like somebody who is from the hood, you know what I'm saying? Or, he grew up around black folk, if you will. And this kid, he's light-skinned, super light-skinned. He passes for white to his fucking white friends. They don't even know he's black. And he's ashamed of his black side. He doesn't let people know that he's black. He's happy to pass as fucking white. Whatever the fuck that means. You know what I'm saying? He just passes. And for what? Like, he's light enough. He can come in this bar. That's literally it. Your skin's too dark. The fuck it doesn't even mean? It doesn't say anything about who I am as a person. It don't mean shit. Like, goddamn. It's crazy. Anywho. This nigga Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, man. I thought his character was pretty dope in this episode. He played some rich nigga that happened to go to this fucking high school that these characters are at. It's called Stonewall Jackson High School. It's named after a Confederate fucking general. And so he comes in and renames the high school after himself. And then he says, he's going to pay for all the seniors' college tuition, but just everyone who's black, you know? So now here's another dilemma that I forgot to mention. I should have mentioned it first. This mixed race kid, he wants to go to this made up school. It should be like ASU, but they're talking about going to some place called ASC, all right? And he can't afford it. His dad is like, yo, I'm not co-signing any loans. Like, either you pay for it yourself or you're not going to that school. And, you know what I'm saying? And, so now he's in a dilemma where his girlfriend and all his friends are going to go to the school and he just can't go. But then here comes Kevin Samuels saying, I'm paying for every black student's college tuition. So now this kid, he fucking, decides, yo, now it's finally gonna pay off to be black. He's been trying to hide from this his whole life, but now it's finally gonna pay off for him to be black. And he goes to have his college tuition paid. They say, all the black students, meet us at the gymnasium by this time so we can give you your checks. He goes and he finds out that you actually have to audition to prove that you're black enough to get this tuition. And he goes through they ask him all these questions. You know what I'm saying? They ask him all these questions. It's pretty hilarious. But at the end of it, they deny him. You know what I'm saying? And he's pretty upset that at this moment, when he thought it was finally going to pay off to be black, he was considered not black. His whole life, he'd been trying to hide it. He was ashamed of it. Didn't want to be considered black. He was ashamed of it. And then, boom, finds out he's not black enough. And then a nigga makes a flamethrower, right? Makes a flamethrower in the garage. Some of the whitest shit I've ever seen. Makes a flamethrower, on his backpack, and then he fucking with straps and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? And then he walks through town to his high school with this flamethrower on to burn down the school because niggas didn't think he was black enough. And but it's a black dude there that shows up with his own flamethrower, and he's like, "Nah, I'm burning down the school." And they're like, "Whoa, he didn't think you were black enough, just because dude's dark skinned as fuck." And he's like, "Nah, man, he's from Nigeria or some shit." And he's like, so he didn't say he was black. And oh, that's funny. And so then the niggas start clowning each other. Light-skinned dude is like, well, yeah, you're not really black because you're from Africa. And dude from Africa is just like, yo, he's like, man, you look like Frankie Muniz, man. I bet you walked here with that flamethrower. I had to hide this shit. And they end up getting into a firefight, chasing each other with these flamethrowers. And you guys know how it fucking ends. The police end up shooting the black dude. And the best part, this is the best part, actually. I almost forgot how it ended because I was like, this is going to get sad. But I was like, no, he don't die. He don't die. This is the best part. So then it comes back from like to the at the end of the episode, last segment of it, and the black dude from Africa who got shot, Kevin Samuels, they tell him, like since he got shot, Kevin Samuels tells him that since he got shot, he is now black. He got shot by the police, so he is now black. And he gives him a check for his college tuition right there. That was the best part. Just, here's your check, bro. You black now. And then, that wasn't the final segment. Then they arrested the light-skinned dude. And then it fast forwards to like a year. And he's like working at Best Buy. And he's acting real urban, if you will. And I don't know. I honestly don't get the ending. I don't get the ending at all. I probably should have read up on that, but like, no, I don't understand the ending at all. He's like, he got the fade. He's brushing his hair, talking like, he's talking urban, if you will. I didn't understand. I don't know, it's just weird. It's a mind fuck. Maybe, oh shit, yeah, no, I guess that's what it is, you know what I'm saying? He was finally like rejected from the black community. And that fucked him up so much that he had to dive deep into it. I think maybe, I've heard from mixed people, how rough it can be out there. But like if you're mixed between like white and black, nigga, it can be rough. I heard. I was saying to these people once, I was like, y'all got the best of both worlds. You got friends over here, over there. They was like, nah, the white girls don't like you because they think they're prettier than you, and then the black girls don't like you because they think you're prettier than them, and you're just trying to kick it. I was like, damn. Sounds rough out here. Sounds rough. So yeah, he was finally cast out from and considered not black enough. And then when you see him in a year, he's got the fade, working at Best Buy, nigga. If that means he's working at Best Buy, nigga. Talking real urban all of a sudden. It's crazy. It was a great episode. Very entertaining episode. Can't wait for next week. It looks like a Van-heavy episode, which would be cool because you don't get much of Van in the show this season. So it's like, what's Van up to? Let's see what Van is up to out here in Europe. That'd be interesting. Don't mind if we do. UFC Vegas 54 just went off, ladies and gentlemen. It just went the fuck off. It didn't just like end just now. It happened yesterday, but it was a pretty good card. I liked it a lot. I say my fight of the night would be Viviane Araújo versus Andrea Lee. Man, there was a war in the first round. Then Araújo just grappled Andrea Lee in the second round. She grappled and just wore her out. Andrea Lee's talking about she felt like she was gonna pass out coming into like before the third round. Like she was exhausted. It was a great fight. I was super into that fight. Quote of the night. I'd say what came from Caitlin Chukagian after she defeated Amanda Ribas, which obviously Ribas has poor striking. Striking is not that good. And Chukagian is the second best striker and the second cleanest striker. Like, she's got the cleanest technique outside of Valentina. Like, if there is no Valentina there, Chukagian would be champion right now, I believe. And then you just fed Amanda Ribas to the number one ranked fighter of this division for her first fight in a new division when she has terrible striking. Like, the hype train was there, and then Marina Rodriguez lit her the fuck up. Lit her the fuck up. And you know what was happening here? I thought she was going to get knocked the fuck out. I thought she was going to get knocked out. She was getting battered in there. All right? That girl was getting battered in there. Like, she got her to the ground in the first round. Once Caitlyn was able to shut down those takedowns, shut down the grappling, keep it fucking at range and in the middle of the fucking octagon, not get pressed up against the fucking fence. Once she was able to do that, she was fucking lighting Hebas up. Lighting that girl up. I thought she was going to get knocked out. Her striking's not that good. She just comes forward, like, just getting fucking 1-2, just getting that head snapping back. I'm tweeting live, like, yo, she's about to get knocked out. People tweeted me after the fight. They replied after the fight, like, yo, she got cheated. She's not going to get knocked out. She got cheated by the judges. Like, that's something you couldn't reply. You couldn't have that response live that she wasn't going to get knocked out. Like, you know what I'm saying? You had to just, like, see that comment and just try to pretend you don't see her head constantly snapping back as she comes forward. Y'all pretend that this fight ain't fucking crazy. Like, Herb Dean couldn't step in at any minute. Was it Herb Dean? I hope not. I hope not. But Amanda Hebas got that ass beat, in my personal opinion. Some crazy fucking judge. I think one of the judges scored it for Hebas. Shame on you. That's nuts. Girl got her ass beat in there. People are like, what, takedowns don't score? It's like, yeah, they do score. But you know what else scores fucking most is a heavy punch. And she was landing a lot of heavy punches on her. Clean. Right on the jaw, just snapping that head back. Girl was bloody. She bloodied her up. Like, she was looking fucked up at the end of that fight. And then she was trying to scream, going, ah, just at the end of the, like, I hate it. It's like the women fighters, in the last 30 seconds of the final round, if it's a close fight, one of the fighters usually starts going, yeah, with every fucking strike to try to sway the judges that they're fighting harder than the other person. And it's paid off a lot. Thankfully, as soon as fucking Hebas came with that bullshit, fucking Chukagi, starts piecing her up as she should. As she should. Hebas kept coming forward, she's snapping that head back. I thought she was gonna get finished. But somehow Hebas was able to stay standing. If anything, she's a little tougher. I don't know, maybe I would say Rodriguez probably hits harder than Chukagian, who's more like she's gonna piece you up. She's gonna touch you up. But Hebas had like no head movement and was just coming forward with that with that chin on a platter. And Chukagian, just lighting her up. It was beautiful. So Chukagian beats the shit out of Amanda Hebas, and after the fight, she's naming people. She's like, I'll fight any of them. This person, that person, that French girl can get it too. That line right there is the quote of the night. That French girl can get it too. She's referring to Manon Farrow. That would be a pretty interesting fight. They're both really good strikers. I believe there's levels to this. You know what I'm saying? To a point, most of these people would seem like really good strikers to someone at an amateur level. You know what I'm saying? They seem like really good strikers. Depending on the person, anybody could be an amateur. Anybody could be an amateur. You know what I'm saying? I could train daily for the next, 3 years. Real dedicated. And then decide, hey, I'm going to fight. You don't know who the fuck is coming out there. You'd be like, this old dude, I'd be like 35. You'd be like, this old dude's about to come out here for his first fight. I'm going to whoop his ass. And it's all of a sudden like, nope, niggas had time to train for the last 3 years. Hone his craft, kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. Niggas out here. You know what I'm saying? Judo. Just hip tossing niggas. All of a sudden, second fight is Dana White's Contender Series, first pro fight. Dana White's Contender Series and shit. Anywho, I'm saying it's possible. Anything's possible. But I think there's levels to it, and I think Chukagian is going to touch Faroe up. And we talk about the main event, which I felt like was a great fight. First round, absolute war. These men were going to war. And the fight ended when Alexander Rakic's like ACL or some shit. He tore his knee popped. It just snapped. Tendon in his knee just fucking snapped. As he took a step back, it snapped. The fight was called off. But I just watched the video with the Weasel. Thank you for putting that out right before I started recording this. And he shows like how, I think it was the start of the second round or some shit. It was at some point in the fight. Rakic went to throw a leg kick and Jan checked it. And his knee hit the right inside, like right on the spot that later on in the fight snaps. That's where it checks. And it's just like hard, Jan's hard knee on that soft tissue right there on the side. And then it was just like, he was also pointing out, and I was saying this to my wife earlier. I was like, I think it honestly must have been the accumulation of damage to the other leg. Because Jan was fucking up Rakic's, his left leg. All right? I believe it was his left leg. He's fucking that left leg up. And then eventually the right leg, as he stepped back, like just gave out on him. It snapped. Like right in the knee, the tendon, you can like see it pop. And I was thinking because usually when I'm thinking about like basketball players, if they tear their ACL, there's a higher chance that they tear the ACL in the other leg because they're overcompensating on the leg that wasn't hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because they're probably too cautious about the other leg, so it just heightens the chance that they're gonna hurt the other tendon. The tendon in the other leg. So that's what I thought was happening. And in the video with the Weasel, he points out, like, indeed, like, not only was there that check, but all those leg kicks, like, they started to turn Rakic and make him, like, step back awkward on his right leg and, like, post all his weight on that leg until finally that knee just, like, gave out on him, just snaps. So it wasn't like a freak accident, honestly, like we thought it was. It was the accumulation of damage, man. I thought, like Rakic was saying, like he was coming on strong at that point until the injury, but I felt like his left leg was compromised. I wrote it in my notes. I'm like, yo, that left leg looks compromised. Like Jan's about to put it on him, and then fucking he stepped back and his knee snapped. And as the Weasel fucking showed in his video, that was all due to Jan's fucking offense. Jan won that fight fair and square. Polish power is real, okay? I try to tell y'all, like, I don't understand how people were saying, oh, Jan is too old at this point. Like, he was just the champion in his last fight. He was the champion going into his last fight. He just beat Israel Adesanya. All right? He just beat Israel Adesanya. Like, defended the belt against Israel Adesanya. Does he get no credit for that? Like, shit. Y'all are crazy. As I said, Jan was going to win that fight in that Polish power. He just put it on Alexander Rakic. I was about to go on to talk about this next card, but before I do, let me just, because there was a fighter on this card. There was a few fights that were pretty good, but there was this one guy. Well, shout out to Ryan Spann. That was a great fight. Davey Grant. TKO victory over Luis Smolka. He was dominating Smolka in that fight. Smolka came on strong in the second round. But then Davey Grant went right back to business in the third, got the TKO victory. Miguel Torres, all right? That guy looks like a problem. His boxing is super sharp, super crisp. I like Miguel Torres. I didn't know who the fuck this guy was. Never heard of him before. Let's see. Who is Miguel El Loco Torres? We're going to find out together, ladies and gentlemen. Fighting out of somewhere. I don't know why. Oh, fighting. He's out of fighting out of Mexico. Weighing in at 155 pounds. He's okay. He's a lightweight, huh? All right. Okay. That was his UFC debut. He was on Dana White's Contender Series. He won that with a first-round knockout. He wins his UFC debut with a first-round knockout. His boxing's pretty sharp. He fought previously for El Combate or El Combate 6. I don't know what it is. I don't know what all these fucking fight promotions are. Ooh. His losses come via knee bar and heel hook. So keep that of note. But his boxing is sharp, all right? That guy looks like a problem. His boxing looks really crisp. He looks really powerful. He's throwing those punches perfectly. His boxing looks great. All right, shout out to Miguel Torres. That guy looks like a fighter to watch, and I will be. Shout out to Alan Nascimento. That was a great fight. Teammate of Du Bronx. Du Bronx was there in his corner. Shout out to him. Shout out to Michael Johnson for getting back in the win column with a crisp knockout. Yeah, and I didn't really get to see any fights before that. I was at work still. Unfortunately, Angela Hill lost, but I heard it was a pretty good fight. I'll probably try to watch it tomorrow if I can. But yeah, it was a pretty good card. Pretty good card. If you guys did not see that, if you got ESPN Plus, go back and watch UFC Vegas 54 because that was a pretty good card, honestly. That was a really good card. UFC Vegas 55 next week. We got headlined by Holly Holm versus Ketlin Vieja. Holm hasn't fought in almost 2 years due to like injuries. You know, did she have a problem with? I don't know. At this point, I felt like everybody had COVID. I was going to say, like, did she have a problem with COVID? Like, probably everybody did. I think all the fighters did at some point. But she hasn't fought in almost 2 years. She's 40 years old. All right, she's 40. She's in her 40s. All right. Hasn't fought in almost 2 years. She's fighting Ketlin Vieja. I'm honestly not that interested in this fight. I'm legit more interested. So that's the headliner, and I'm much more interested in Elise Reed versus Sam Hughes, which opens the card. That opens the prelims. I'm much more interested in that card, in that fight. Holly Holm is 40 years old. I mean, I guess you got some other 40-year-old women fighting, but do we see Holly Holm becoming a champion anytime at all at this point? You know? At all at this point. Let's say she's 40, man, and she hasn't fought in almost 2 years due to, like, I know there was, like, injury issues. I feel like there was multiple injury setbacks. And she's 40. Do we see Holly Holm becoming champion again? 2-time champion? Should be 3 times. She should have beat Jermaine. She should have beat Jermaine. Points should have been taken. That's why I hate these refs. I yell. They don't listen. She should have been the two-time champion, but it is what it is. But I don't see at 40 years old Holly Holm becoming champion again, even if she wins this fight. I don't see 40-year-old Holly Holm becoming champion, so I don't know. Who's bantamweight? Is that Juliana Pena? Is that Pena? Is that what it is? That is Pena. Oh, never mind. That division's wide open. It's just wide open. Low key. That shit is wide open. I'm not saying Pena is beatable, just beatable. I mean, everybody's beatable, as we've seen. She just beat Nunes, who everybody thought was unbeatable at this point. So I'm just saying, like, she doesn't scare people in the way that Nunes did. Nunes had that Mike Tyson effect. So, honestly, it's wide open. Shit, she could be champion. Glover Teixeira's champion. I don't know. Have they fought? I mean, I'm not against a rematch if Juliana Pena and Holly Holm have scrapped before. Not against a rematch. Man, Holly's fighting these fucking tomato cans. Holly got her ass beat by Cyborg. At least she bless her heart for going in there. But she got fucking battered in that fight. She got beat up by Valentina Shevchenko. Bless her heart for going in there. Bless her heart. She got subbed by Miesha Tate and lost her belt. Bless her heart. Bless her heart. So I don't think she has fought. Oh shit! It's interesting. I didn't even know. It says here when I look at Holly Holm's 2016 fights that a fight with a rematch with Ronda Rousey was scheduled for January 2nd, 2016, but it was canceled. I don't remember ever hearing about that. Interesting. They wanted to run that back immediately. I don't know. We'll see what happens. As I said, I'm not too interested in the main event for next week's card, but we'll see what happens. The fight I am interested in is Jelton Almeida. He made his debut in his last fight. It looks pretty powerful. Looks pretty skillful. I'm pretty interested in that. I think he's versus Parker Porter. I think he's going to win that fight pretty easy, but this is going to be like hopefully a showcase fight. You know? It's like when you get the new superstar in WWE and you just put him in there with a scrub. I'm not saying Parker Porter's a scrub. He can definitely win this fight. But you just put him in there with a non-notable name. And you just let him do his moves. Let him showcase some shit. Look cool out there. I think that's what we're going to get out of that fight. But what I think is what should be the people's main event, if you're a real fan, Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Michelle Pajea. That's my fight right there. That's the most interesting fight on the card for me. We're going to find out a lot of things, like where Michelle Pajea is at. He's had some tough fights recently with like Chaos Williams. He had a tough fight with Andre Fiallo. Let's see, who did he fight? I feel like there's another close fight that I'm missing. Maybe not. Oh yeah, he beat Nico Price. I felt like, Nico Price started coming on strong later on in that fight. Started giving him a tough fight. So that's his last fight. No, Fialo is his last fight. Fialo started coming on strong. And it seemed like Fialo could have knocked him out. So in his last two fights, it looked like Pereira started to really slow down in the third round. And people started to really come on, really started to tee off on your boy. I'm still rooting for Pereira in this one. But I'm telling you, it's a tough task. Even at 35 years old, Santiago Ponzinibbio is a problem. This is going to be the toughest fight that Michel Pereira has had. And I'm telling you, he's coming off like three straight tough fights. Where it was like, ooh, he got tested in there. Yeah, he was flashy as fuck. You know what I'm saying? He was able to win rounds because of that. But there was moments where he was getting tired and they were coming on strong. So I don't think we're going to want to see that. I don't think he's going to want to look that way against Santiago Ponzinibbio on Saturday. We're going to look at it. He's going to look at looking into a loss, if that's the case. That's what he's going to be looking forward to, is a loss. It's going to be a tough fight for him, but it's going to be the best fight. Well, the fight that I'm the most interested in, I think that's going to be a banger. That's the co-main event on the card. It should be the main event, but, I mean, Holly Holm has probably, the biggest name. But there's some fights on here. Dusko Todorovic is taking on Chidi Njokuani. That's going to be a dope fight, all right? Real interesting fight. I think there's another fight here. I spoke about the Almeida fight. Jonathan Martinez versus Vince Morales. Omar Morales versus Uros Medic. That's going to be a good fight. Chase Hooper versus Felipe Colares. Pardon me. And also, as I mentioned before, Elise Reed versus Sam Hughes. I'm much more interested in that fight than I am the main event. If we're talking about the women's fights, I don't know. I'm not too interested in Holm fighting for the belt. It is what it is. If you put it on, I'll watch it, all right? I watch this card, and I'm not that interested in it. So if you put that on, if you give her a title shot, I'll fucking watch it, all right? I'll fucking watch. Maybe seeing Nunes lose, even if Nunes wins the belt back, she would still be interested in fighting Nunes. She got knocked out by Nunes in their first fight, Holly Holm. So I don't know if she wants to. Maybe she wants to run it back. We'll see. And if you guys want to see more, see your boy's face as I'm babbling about these things, you can follow this podcast at Babylon 5 Pod. You can follow on Instagram and Twitter. That is probably just mainly Instagram. I'm starting to tweet more. Or I'll try. I don't tweet that much more, actually. Maybe one or two more tweets, but maybe I'll start stepping it up. If you guys want to email this podcast, it's at Babylon 5 Pod. You can email this podcast at babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You guys can hit that like button anywhere that you're listening to this podcast. I appreciate that so very much. And if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Twitch, it's at twitch.tv/Babylon5. If you guys want to cop some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my Niji, be my patrons by going to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod. Thank you guys so much for being here another week, the 143rd straight week of Babylon. I appreciate you guys so much for being here. And I'll see you guys next week for 144. Hope you guys will take care of yourselves and each other. And I'll see you when I see you. Now holla.
Chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling, chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican.